Anyways, video 79 starts with a man walking into the water from the beach. The sky is grey and cloudy and I don't hear anything other than the crashing waves and his mumbling. The waves get louder as he walks further out, the water ever rising around him, but I start to pick up what he's saying. Over and over he's repeating, "It's 1879. He just keeps mumbling that into the camera he's holding as the water rises around him. It's 1879. It's 1879. It's 1879. His voice starts to bubble when the water reaches his lips. A few brief times, the water drips onto the murky green water. I had to watch the video over and over as there was no way to pause it. But I could swear, when the camera dipped under the water, I could see the silhouettes of buildings. Tall skyscrapers hiding under the ocean's surface. It looked like New York, but just as the camera dips a final time, the video ends with one last, "It's 1879. I began to wonder if some of the videos were connected somehow when I played video 80. It saw a naval officer being filmed on a large boat. I'm terrible with military stuff. It was some kind of aircraft carrier though. There was a ton of chatter around the boat as the camera followed the officer who was maintaining a brisk pace. As he reached the edge of the ship, a few of his crew members motioned for him to hurry up, to which he replied by asking what was going on. As he reached the edge of the ship, the camera looked out at the sea. Panning down further, there was a shadow under the water. It was long and prominent against the crystal blue. The mumbling around the officer began to increase as his shadow began to grow in size. The officer began shouting for everyone to get to a safe station, to brace themselves. It wasn't hard to tell that what was causing the dark spot was rising to the surface, that once it reached the surface it was going to be massive, likely thicker than the carrier. As the operator of the camera panned up to start running away from the edge, I saw very briefly a man standing out on the water facing the boat. Then, the video ends. It's a common theme that the videos end right before the climax, but not all of them follow this rule. Like video 44, this video is probably the most graphic one I saw out of the bunch, and it's only one of the shorter ones. There are only 2 people on camera, and whoever is controlling the camera. The 2 on screen are girls that look fairly young. Early teens maybe, and judging by the voice of the cameraman, he was around their age. The one girl mentioned that her mother told her not to stay past sundown. As the cameraman filled the trees around them, he was telling the girl to relax and all the rumors were full of shit. The other girl laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. They walked briefly before their progress was interrupted by a large snap. It sounded like a tree had fallen. Then one of the girls asked, "What are those?" The camera panned in the direction, and in the distance were soft glowing amber lights, like aggressive fireflies. The camera pans back to the girl just as her legs are swept out from under her, and she falls to the floor. Before she can muster a whimper, her body is lifted by a thick, dark shadow and tossed aside. She was thrown with such force that when she hit a nearby tree, it looked like I think she was torn in half at the torso. It was hard to see as the motion was so quick, and it was so dark, but her shadow that was once whole split into 2 and tumbled through the trees. The other girl watched in horror as her friend experienced cell division mere feet from here. Without any time to process what had happened or start running, that same tendril bore through the girl's chest. The weak light of the camera showed her injury in harsh detail. The end of the tendril seemed to be sprouting branches from the small pockets of blood that rested on the dark and slimy surface. The girl turned her head slowly, and I recognized a familiar amber glow starting to ignite in her eyes. The boy dropped the camera when they locked eyes. I could hear him attempting to flee, but his footsteps suddenly stopped, and then the video went black. The video after that, video 45, was just about people dancing in a club. It was such a strange shift in tone. They just kept dancing. And while this one didn't have anything too bizarre in it, when I saw the people moving around would occasionally have something protruding from their skin as they were dancing. At least, I thought they were dancing. The video goes to black before anything happens though. There are a lot of videos on this site. Way too many to go over them all at once, and I don't even know if I reached the end. I fell asleep after watching video 121, and when I woke up, my computer had gone into sleep and the page was gone. Video 120 was a woman holding her phone up to a mirror while she reached into her mouth. She started to pull her hand back, and as she did, a thin strand started to be revealed. She was making retching noises and she continued pulling. She had her arm almost stretched out in front of her, still pulling the thing out. Then, it seemed to wriggle and in an instant, seemed to retreat into her mouth, causing her to vomit in the sink. I hear the woman angrily exclaim, "Fuck this," before reaching for a knife resting on the white sink. Then of course, the video cuts. There are just some of the videos that stuck out to me. If I could direct you to the place, I would, even though I'm having trouble finding it again. I'm not sure if any of these are real, but I can confidently say I've never seen them anywhere but this site. The reactions and looks of everything feel so real. Even now, a lot of what I saw I'm struggling to shake. If I find it again and see more, maybe I'll be back. And if I can find a way to get to a path to the site, I'll be back. But for now, I'll leave you with one more video that stuck with me. Video 57. The video starts with a man walking through an empty house. No furniture or anything, only a bleak green carpet lining the floors of each room. He would look out the windows he passed by but wouldn't point the camera out there. I watched him get increasingly frantic as he started running room to room. Each look out the window seemed to break him a little more. Eventually, he ran to the front door and with a trembling hand unlocked it. Swinging the door open, the source of his concern became alarmingly clear. A crowd of plain grey mannequins lifted their heads to meet his gaze. There were so many that I could barely see any of the front yard, just shoulder-to-shoulder mannequins. His breath was rapid and harsh against the camera. He started screaming at the scene before him, almost in defiance. He kept egging them on, telling them, "Get over with it!" And when he had enough of those motionless figures, he slammed the door shut. Turning around to face the rest of the house, something caused him to drop his phone. It landed face down on the carpet, showcases the dark green. I heard a struggle and the shuffling of feet filling in the house. Then, the camera was picked up. Plain grey fingers laced around it, bending at visible plastic joints. The thing manipulating the camera pointed it at the man that was being pinned down by the figures. I was waiting for it to cut to black like I had seen so many times before. But instead, I watched as a horde of mannequins hovered over the man and started to peel away at him. He was screaming and trying to fight against it, telling them he didn't want to go back. As they ripped at his flesh, I was surprised at the lack of gore. No blood or bone. As they ripped his face apart, all I saw was a plain grey shell underneath, and then the video cuts to black. It's something I have no idea what to make of. The amount of production that would have been necessary to do so, whatever the hell that was. I couldn't find anything like it that goes for most of the videos. I'm not sure why these videos only make it to this site. Why aren't we seeing any of them on YouTube or any other platform? Hell, I don't know anything about this. All I know is it offered me a high I had never felt before, and filled me with the dread I don't think I'll ever be able to shake off. The feeling of something out there beyond me, always gnawing at the back of my neck. As conflicted as I am, I'll search for that high until I find it again. I have to know what else is out there. How many videos are there? What is video 121? For my money, I can only conclude that things I saw on the site were real. Maybe I wasn't supposed to see them. All I know is, I have to find that place again.